If we're gonna sum up Custer, South Dakota, you're talking about a place that encompasses all the best things of the Black Hills. You're talking about a place that has unique geography, unique history, has a ton to do in the region. You're really talking about a place where you can spend a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and not do everything. Basically an adventure. Well, if you want to start things off in Custer, one good way is to see it from the air. One of those unique ways to do that, Black Hills Aerial Adventures. Mike, how are you?
I'm well, and yourself?
I'm doing well. Hey, tell me a little bit about Black Hills Aerial Adventures. What do we got going on here?
Well, Black Hills Aerial Adventures has been providing helicopter tours in this area for going on 29 years now.
Oh, congratulations, you're almost at the 30th year.
Almost.
So what about this business makes it so lucrative here, and why the Black Hills?
Well, the Black Hills have an awful lot to offer from an aerial perspective, in addition to the Crazy Horse Monument and Mount Rushmore, scenic tours through the Needles and the Cathedral Spires, Black Elk Peak. We actually even do tours in the Badlands.
I do like hiking. I am a big fan of hiking. My sisters, for example, not. They are not the hiking type. This is right down their alley. You get to see the sights from a different perspective, something that you really won't see otherwise. Mike, tell me a little bit about your fleet. What helicopters exactly do we have here?
Well, our fleet consists of 10 different helicopters, 3 different models.
Wow.
We utilize the Bell products. Our oldest helicopter is the Bell 47. It's the actually Korean War vintage.
Oh, wow.
We also utilize the Robinson helicopters. It's the #1 selling helicopter in the country, manufactured in California. And we also utilize the Bell 206 Jet Rangers.
I know you're not allowed to pick favorites, but I'm going to ask you to pick a favorite. What's your favorite tour up here?
My favorite tour is the tour through the Cathedral Spires and the Black Elk Peak. Everything you've seen from the ground, this puts it in a totally different perspective. The spectacle of flying through the Needles is incredible.
The different perspective allows a different appreciation that you might not have had beforehand for what we have available here in the hills. As far as, each time, if people are worried about sanitation, whatnot, you guys sanitize helicopters and whatnot, each time people get on or get off, so can you talk a little bit about that, about what that looks like?
We've adopted some sanitary procedures to comply with CDC guidelines. We sanitize the aircraft between flights, especially the headsets, the microphones, the entire aircraft, but those items we pay particular attention to.
We need to talk about this because you are not going to find another perspective of the Black Hills like that. I've been through the Black Hills, I've seen Mount Rushmore, I've seen Crazy Horse. This is a totally different experience when you're flying in a helicopter looking at these 2-billion-year-old rocks from the air. It's unbelievable. This was just an incredible experience. Well worth your time. Make sure you are getting out here to see a different viewpoint of the Black Hills that you thought you knew. You're gonna find out a totally different Black Hills when you're seeing it from the air. We all know about Crazy Horse Monument. the stark figure on Thunder Mountain staring off into the southeast. But there's a museum that we're here to see. This is home to artifacts, cultural items, history of the region, and of the people who are still here and call the Black Hills home. Nega, thank you so much for letting us see this building, and it's filled with things that when you're from the roadside, you wouldn't know that all of this is here. You see the monuments, but what do we have around us here?
We have over 12,000 pieces in our collection altogether, and mostly about 95% of that was given to the museum, because the people that give it think it's going to be safe here, and it is safe here. It's well taken care of, it's well preserved. It's all, done in the museum manner. And we're very proud of the collection simply because so many things have been given to us.
When you look at the Black Hills, it is a very unique environment, even if you've been from the Rocky Mountains or whatnot. But it seems as though the art, the artifacts almost reflect the terrain around it. It's an expression of the home that is the Black Hills here.
The Lakota, the Black Hills was their private, their personal, their sacred land that they absolutely loved. They only came to hunt and fish and prey here. They didn't do a lot of other things. They didn't ever plan to live here. This is why it's so special and why it just feels like it belongs here, because they do.
You get that feeling when you walk in here. The sacred nature of the things around us and the expression are being the expression of something that maybe can't be put into words, but much more easier in the visual. Yep. And it just surrounds you when you're in here, these expressions. It's quite beautiful.
Well, this is one of the most popular pieces that we have in the museum because it is a teepee. You can see them on TV and everything else, but they really never get a chance to go inside. And in this one, it shows the family and how they lived and everything on the buffalo rug and all of that.
Well, it's a piece of engineering when you really think about it. There's strength points and what, you wouldn't imagine where the strongest points are, but everything's got a purpose to it.
It does. Everything's got to really be fitting together.
That's cool.
We did a lot of cleaning and a lot of, while we were closed, cleaning and rethinking and working on that plan, how to make that work. Many doors open as we can have open without people having to touch them. We ask people to tear their own tickets in half. We have sanitizing stations. Everything is wiped down and cleaned. We don't want anybody or any of our customers to become sick here, and we don't want anybody to bring anything in either. So, I mean, just treating each other with the common sense that it takes to avoid this disease.
It's important for you guys to keep this place open because
we need to keep this place open to keep going, keep this museum going.
And to educate the public. Let's talk about the actual monuments itself. When did that get started?
1948, June 3rd, the newspaper people came and did a story. Life magazine wasn't if this mountain gets done, it's when this mountain gets done. My dad was very charismatic and he could explain things so people just really just bought into it, really believed it, really knew it, and that's the basis and the groundwork of where we came from.
And this story's personal for you because this is your dad that we're talking about.
Well, he dedicated his life to this project. I mean, it just wouldn't be here without him being so passionate about it. You just couldn't help but just take it on.
Tell me a little bit of what it's like to see the monuments going up and changing.
Well, it's changing a lot these days. It really is, with all the saw cuts and everything that's being done right now. Things are being done much quicker than with dynamite and blasting like they used to do. Of course, they have to be a lot more careful too, because you don't want to blast too much because you don't want to damage the rock. And so there's a lot more engineering going into it, a lot more seam line work and everything else to make sure that everything stays safe.
Just the face itself, it's really striking. It is iconic. Even it out from the roadway, you see, you're like, oh my gosh. You can tell just by looking at the face how much work has been done.
Well, you have to smile because the workers are so involved in it too. We have one gentleman that worked with my dad, working on the mountain still. And when Dad passed away in 1982, Jeff is still here. So It's amazing. It's amazing.
A lot of personal story with this.
There is.
Awesome. On our way.
Okay. It's the tallest mountain sculpture in the world. It's taller than the Washington Monument, taller than the Egyptian pyramids. The head of Crazy Horse is 87.5 feet tall, and all 4 portraits of our president at Mount Rushmore fit into the head of Crazy Horse.
There's no other way to put it. It's a large chunk of rock we're talking about here. You actually see the outline of the horse and where we're trying to move forward with that monument. And you can see the more uncovered portions of the hand up there. So there is progress being made.
Every day.
I mean, you got the clouds in the background. I mean, this
Might be a good thing for my Instagram.
Hey, you want Instagram? There you go, right there. That's quite the thing.
You know, no matter how many we put out, Instagrams you put out, the mountain gets all the glory.
You really cannot get an appreciation for the scale of this mountain until you are at the bottom of it right here looking up. In fact, as I'm looking up, you almost get a little bit of the sensation that you're falling backwards because you have to look up into the face of Crazy Horse here. It's pretty incredible. So obviously this is not what the monument looks like right now, but this is what the completed work is expected to be. And as it was explained, the time it takes is not really the importance of the monument here. The monument is more of a lighthouse that shows that there's education to be had here. There's a culture here. There's history here. And the monument calls to people to come and learn that history through vibrant visual and in a lot of ways a spiritual journey through this museum. If you want to know the history of this land and its people, this is a great place to start. We're here at Adventure Rentals and we're talking about a fleet
Yes.
of different vehicles that you can use to explore
Yes.
the Black Hills.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about what you got.
We just recently partnered with Polaris, so that allows us to have all of what Polaris has to offer for the Black Hills. So some of the best off-roading machines that you can get, so you really can get out there and just explore. It gets you off the beaten path of the highways, and it gets you seeing things you can't see any other way besides in a machine like ours. You can explore like never before.
So you're using that unique equipment to get to these remote places and see this unique perspective of the hills.
All of the off-roading machines do come with tablets that have the maps already pre-downloaded. It's a self-guiding tour, but what we do is we do put points of interest in here for you, and then we give you like roadways on where to turn, how to enter the trails, and then it also has GPS tracking on it, and so it traces a yellow line behind you, so then if you do get out there and get turned around, because you know not everyone's from the area, then you just follow the yellow brick road right back out.
Okay, that's important to me because that gives me freedom.
Yes.
It's like, maybe I don't want to see these things, but I definitely want to explore this area.
Yes.
And I'm a big map guy, so
Yes.
that's going to be really helpful. there's an amazing road network out here to be able to visit all the different corners of the park.
Yes.
So you can spend hours and hours and hours out here, even a week, and not see everything.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And if you want to do it in style,
you have to get the slingshot.
You got to get the slingshot.
So those are on-road vehicles. They're like sports cars, just not as expensive.
Okay, I'm down with that.
They are a manual transmission machine, and what those are meant to do is really just go and explore the beautiful part of Custer, which is Custer State Park, some of the most amazing roads you can get on out there, and then they can also take them up to Spearfish Canyon, out to Devil's Tower. I mean, the options are endless with those.
This is the way to do it. We're standing at this distance. We're talking about, of course, things going on in the world. And so what are we doing about as far as health is concerned? And for those that may be a little trepidatious about heading out and seeing the hills, you know, what are some positives that are going on as far as that's concerned?
Well, you know, just what we offer here with our off-roading machines, it's social distancing at its finest. You can't get any more distant than going in a machine and going and exploring the 4,000 miles of trails. You can go out there and you wouldn't see another person all day long. Now, when it comes to sanitizing everything, you know, that is our priority here. You know, we want to help flatten the curve as well. And so what we're doing is making sure that everything is sanitized, ready to go with COVID fighting, you know, virus fighting solutions to be able to help people so they do feel comfortable going out there and exploring. I mean, you know, there's nothing better than getting out in the open, getting out in the sun and enjoying yourself at a time like this.
Okay, it's true. You could probably go through the Black Hills in a regular vehicle, or you could ride in one of these, a slingshot from Adventure Rentals, and look at the Black Hills and experience the Black Hills style. Look cool doing it. And you really can't beat it. So you get the all-around experience of the roadways, the road network we have here in the Black Hills. Something pretty cool. So you got thousands of trails that snake their way through the Black Hills, a lot of them right here in Custer State Park. We're talking for all different levels, you know, whether you just want to go for a short hike or even overnight camping. This is just one of those trails here at Sylvan Lake. It's one of the best ways to see the Black Hills, get a little exercise, get outdoors. This is social distancing at its best. You can spend your whole lifetime in the Black Hills, even around this area, not see all the trails that the place has to offer.
Another minute. I'm finding a way out, ready for tomorrow.
2 billion-year-old rock just kind of scattered around you. So whether you like nature, whether you like history, whether you like just being outdoors, this is the way to do it. My mind is always racing around, and I need somewhere where I can kind of empty out my mind into the space around me. And Custer State Park offers plenty of that. How you doing? gigantic rocks. Something you wouldn't think in South Dakota if you're not from here, but it's full of them. Good for rock climbing. You got well-maintained trails. You have trails that are a little bit more off the beaten path. It really is whatever you're comfortable with. You can really get lost out here. Just make sure that you have a map with you and you know what you're doing. So for those a little bit more experienced, you can do a little bit more exploring. For those that are just trying to see what's outside, just outside their front door, got some nice, well-maintained trails here. Couple of things you want to remember when coming up here. It's very dry. You're not going to notice that you're losing water, which is actually nice. Keeps you cool. But the weather also changes quite frequently up here. Make sure that you have some way to stay warm. Now, even in July, you have temperatures that drop quickly up here. Sometimes you get afternoon thunderstorms, so make sure you're checking the forecast before you come up here. Pace yourself and you'll see a lot of the hills from Custer State Park. All right, so I got the chemicals flowing through my brain, the exercise, thinking feel good, feel accomplished. And that's not my only reward. I also get the views that I'm looking at out here. It's gorgeous today. Mornings, best time to get this done. This isn't what you usually think of when you think of South Dakota, but it's here. It's waiting for you. And you just look cool going around. And we're gonna have to do that again. I'm sorry, because that was awful. I really thought it was bad. I can guarantee you there are far more attractive people that could be doing this, but we're gonna work with what we got. So we're here at Adventure Rentals. We're talking about a whole different fleet. Oh no, we can't have people doing things. Is there actual water in here, or is it just for show? I don't know why I took the lid off.
And action.
Why do I feel like I'm going in circles?